Sector 1530. Improvements to Consortium of Universities to advise Secretary of Defense on cybersecurity matters. Sector 1531. Digital Development Infrastructure Plan and Working Group. Sector 1532. Study regarding establishment within the Department of Defense of a designated Central Program Office to oversee academic engagement programs relating to establishing cyber talent across the department. Sector 1533. Report on the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification Program. Sector 1534. Deadline for reports on assessment of cyber resiliency of nuclear command and control system. Subtitle C. Matters related to Federal Cybersecurity Sector 1541. Capabilities of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency to identify threats to industrial control systems. Sector 1542. Cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Sector 1543. Report on cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Sector 1544. Competition relating to cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Sector 1545. Strategy. Sector 1546. Cyber Incident Response Plan. Sector 1547. National Cyber Exercise Program. Sector 1548. Cybersentry Program of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Sector 1549. Strategic Assessment relating to innovation of information systems and cybersecurity threats. Sector 1550. Pilot Program on Public-Private Partnerships with Internet Ecosystem Companies to detect and disrupt adversary cyber operations. Sector 1551. United States-Israel Cybersecurity Cooperation. Sector 1552. Authority for National Cyber Director to accept details on non-reimbursable basis. Title 16 Space Activities, Strategic Programs, and Intelligence Matters. Subtitle A Space Activities. Sector 1601. National Security Space Launch Program. Sector 1602. Redesignation of Space Force Acquisition Council, modifications relating to Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Space Acquisition and Integration. Sector 1603. Delegation of authorities to Space Development Agency. Sector 1604. Extension and modification of Council on Oversight of the Department of Defense Positioning, Navigation, and Timing Enterprise. Sector 1605. Improvements to Tactically Responsive Space Launch Program. Sector 1606. Clarification of domestic services and capabilities in leveraging commercial satellite remote sensing. Sector 1607. Programs of record of Space Force and commercial capabilities. Sector 1608. Extension and modification of certifications regarding integrated tactical warning and attack assessment mission of the Air Force. Sector 1609. Classification review of programs of the Space Force. Sector 1610. Report on range of the future initiative of the Space Force. Sector 1611. Space Policy Review. Sector 1612. Annual Briefing on Threats to Space Operations. Sector 1613. National Security Council Briefing on Potential Harmful Interference to Global Positioning System. Sector 1614. Non-geostationary orbit satellite constellations. Sector 1615. Briefing on prototype program for multi-global navigation satellite system receiver development. Subtitle B Defense Intelligence and Intelligence-Related Activities Sector 1621. Notification of certain threats to United States Armed Forces by foreign governments. Sector 1622. Strategy and plan to implement certain defense intelligence reforms. Sector 1623. Annual briefing by Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency on electronic warfare threat to operations of the Department of Defense. Sector 1624. Report on explosive ordnance intelligence matters. Subtitle C Nuclear Forces Sector 1631. Participation in United States Strategic Command Strategic Deterrence Exercises. Sector 1632. Modification to requirements relating to nuclear force reductions. Sector 1633. Modifications to requirements relating to unilateral changes in nuclear weapons stockpile of the United States. Sector 1634. Deadline for reports on modification of force structure for strategic nuclear weapons delivery systems. Sector 1635. Modification of deadline for notifications relating to reduction, consolidation, or withdrawal of nuclear forces based in Europe. Sector 1636. Procurement authority for certain parts of the ground-based strategic deterrent cryptographic device. Sector 1637. Capability of B-21 bomber aircraft with long-range standoff weapon. Sector 1638. Mission Design Series popular name for ground-based strategic deterrent. Sector 1639. Prohibition on reduction of the intercontinental ballistic missiles of the United States. Sector 1640. Limitation on availability of certain funds until submission of information relating to proposed budget for nuclear-armed sea-launched cruise missile. Sector 1641. Limitation on availability of certain funds until submission of information relating to nuclear-armed sea-launched cruise missile. Sector 1642. Annual Certification on Readiness of Minuteman III Intercontinental Ballistic Missiles. Sector 1643. Revised Nuclear Posture Review. Sector 1644. Review of safety, security, and reliability of nuclear weapons and related systems. Sector 1645. Long-range standoff weapon. Sector 1646. Ground-based Strategic Deterrent Development Program Accountability Matrices. Sector 1647. Information regarding review of Minuteman III service life extension program or options for the future of the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Force. Sector 1648. Notification regarding intercontinental ballistic missiles of China. Sector 1649. Independent review of nuclear command, control, and communications system. Sector 1650. Review of engineering and manufacturing development contract for ground-based strategic deterrent program. Sector 1651. Report on re-alerting long-range bombers. Sector 1652. Controller General study and updated report on nuclear weapons capabilities and force structure requirements. Sector 1653. Briefing on consultations with United States allies regarding nuclear posture review. Subtitle D Missile Defense Program Sector 1661. Notification of changes to non-standard acquisition and requirements processes and responsibilities of Missile Defense Agency. Sector 1662. Limitation on Missile Defense Agency production of satellites and ground systems associated with operation of such satellites. Sector 1663. Extension of period for transition of ballistic missile defense programs to military departments. Sector 1664. Directed energy programs for ballistic and hypersonic missile defense. Sector 1665. Guam Integrated Air and Missile Defense System. Sector 1666. Missile Defense Radar in Hawaii. Sector 1667. Certification required for Russia and China to tour certain missile defense sites. Sector 1668. Next Generation Interceptors for Missile Defense of the United States Homeland. Sector 1669. Iron Dome Short-Range Rocket Defense System and Israeli Cooperative Missile Defense Program Co-Development and Co-Production. Sector 1670. Update of study on discrimination capabilities of the ballistic missile defense system. Sector 1671. Semi-annual updates on meetings held by the Missile Defense Executive Board. Sector 1672. Matters regarding integrated deterrence review. Sector 1673. Semi-annual notifications regarding missile defense tests and costs. Sector 1607